Hi everyone, glad to see you again. Today I have something informative lined up for you. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Stay safe online cyber network. The information here is strictly for educational purposes, to raise awareness about spear phishing and help organizations defend themselves. We'll explore real-world tactics used by cyber criminals, but this is not a guide for hackers. All scenarios are anonymized to protect victims' identities. The aim is to highlight the real risks and consequences of these attacks. Use this knowledge to strengthen your defenses, not to exploit others. Every organization's needs are unique. Consult cybersecurity professionals for tailored strategies. The fight against spear phishing is ongoing and requires vigilance. Let this serve as a critical briefing in your security campaign. Traditional phishing is like casting a wide net, generic emails sent to millions of people, hoping that just a few will take the bait. These messages are often poorly written, full of obvious mistakes, and easy to spot if you know what to look for. Most people ignore them, but even a tiny percentage of victims can make these attacks worthwhile for cyber criminals. Spear phishing, on the other hand, is much more dangerous. It's targeted, personal, and precise, like a spear instead of a net. Attackers don't just hope for a random victim, they choose their targets carefully. These attackers pick specific individuals, often those with access to sensitive data, financial accounts, or authority to make important decisions. They might target executives, HR managers, or anyone with valuable access. Before launching their attack, cybercriminals spend time researching their targets. They scour social media, company websites, and professional networks to gather details that make their emails look legitimate and relevant. These messages might reference real projects, mention colleagues by name, or discuss recent company events. The details are so accurate that the email feels familiar and trustworthy. The goal is to trick the victim into taking action, clicking a malicious link, sharing confidential credentials, or even transferring money to a fraudulent account. Sometimes the attacker asks for sensitive files or access to internal systems. Unlike generic scams, spear phishing exploits trust and familiarity. The attacker might even spoof the email address of a trusted colleague or supervisor, making the message seem even more convincing. The language is professional, the formatting is polished, and the details are convincing. Everything is designed to lower your guard and make you act without thinking. Attackers often use urgency and authority to pressure their targets into making quick decisions. They might claim there's a crisis, a missed deadline, or a financial emergency that needs immediate attention. For example, you might receive a fake urgent request for a wire transfer, or an email asking you to verify your login credentials to prevent your account from being locked. Spear phishing is social engineering at its finest, hacking people, not just systems. It's about manipulating human psychology, not just exploiting technical vulnerabilities. These attacks manipulate our instincts to help others, obey authority, and act fast when something seems urgent. That's why they're so effective, even against experienced professionals. The result? Even the most cautious, well-trained professionals can be fooled by a well-crafted spear phishing attack. No one is immune. The attacker isn't just after data or money. They're after the person behind the screen, exploiting trust and relationships to get what they want. That's what makes spear phishing so dangerous, and why everyone needs to stay vigilant, question unexpected requests, and double-check before acting. Cybercriminals target executives because they hold the keys to the company's most valuable assets. A successful attack on a CEO or CFO can unlock sensitive data, financial resources, and strategic plans. Executives' authority makes their requests hard to question. Attackers exploit this to bypass normal checks. Busy schedules and constant pressure make leaders more vulnerable to urgent, convincing emails. Public profiles provide attackers with ample information to personalize their lures. Details from LinkedIn, company websites, and news articles help craft believable messages. The higher the executive's visibility, the bigger the target on their back. Attackers use the company's own hierarchy as a weapon. One compromised executive can open the door to the entire organization. That's why C-suite leaders are the ultimate prize for spear phishers. Their access and influence make them irresistible targets. Spear phishing starts with deep research. Attackers gather details from company websites, LinkedIn, and news articles to build a profile of their target. They map out professional networks, recent projects, and even personal interests. Knowing the names of assistants or colleagues adds credibility to their messages. Attackers monitor press releases and company events for timely pretexts. They also probe technical details, like email formats and software used, to perfect their forgeries. Sometimes, they send harmless emails to test responses and delivery. This meticulous intelligence gathering ensures their attack is convincing and well-timed. The more they know, the more dangerous their spear becomes. With research complete, attackers move to the next phase, crafting a lure that's almost impossible to resist. This is where their preparation pays off, as they use everything they've learned about their target to make the bait as convincing as possible. They often spoof email addresses or domains, making them look nearly identical to trusted sources, sometimes changing just a single letter or adding a subtle misspelling that's easy to overlook, especially when you're busy or distracted. The message is crafted to feel urgent and authoritative, often using subject lines that demand immediate attention, like action required or payment overdue, to create a sense of pressure. Attackers reference real projects, upcoming deadlines, or even mention colleagues by name to build credibility and make the email feel authentic. The tone and writing style are carefully matched to the executive's usual communication, sometimes brief and to the point, other times detailed and formal, so nothing feels out of place. The requests are simple and familiar. Click a link, open an attachment, or process a payment. These are everyday actions, making them less likely to raise suspicion. But those links often lead to fake login pages designed to steal credentials, while attachments may contain hidden malware ready to infect the system. Invoices and documents look completely authentic, featuring company logos, official formatting, and even signatures, details that make them hard to distinguish from the real thing. The goal is to bypass suspicion, exploiting the target's trust and sense of urgency to trigger a quick, almost automatic response. These emails are designed to survive a quick glance, blending seamlessly into the daily flood of messages and taking advantage of busy professionals who don't have time to scrutinize every detail. Just one click or a single reply can hand over sensitive credentials, authorize a costly transfer, or open the door to a much larger breach. The true artistry lies in making the fake indistinguishable from the real, so even trained eyes can be fooled. That's how attackers transform careful research into real-world results, turning a simple email into a powerful weapon. Breaching an executive's account is just the beginning. Attackers can authorize fraudulent wire transfers, causing immediate financial loss. With access to a trusted account, they move laterally, requesting more data or credentials from other employees. Sensitive information like trade secrets and customer data can be quietly stolen. Stolen data may be sold, used for blackmail, or fuel further attacks. The reputational damage is severe. Customers and investors lose trust. Regulatory fines and lost business can follow. One compromised executive can bring an entire company to its knees. Picture MechCorp, a successful manufacturing firm in the midst of a major expansion, investing millions to grow its factory and operations. The company is bustling with activity, deadlines are tight, and everyone is focused on keeping the project on track. The CEO, constantly on the move and juggling meetings across cities, receives an urgent email from what appears to be a trusted supplier. Attached is a $750,000 invoice, an amount that fits the scale of their ongoing projects. The email is impressively detailed, referencing real project names and timelines. It even explains a change in banking details due to a supposed internal audit, making the request seem entirely legitimate. With his schedule packed and little time to spare, the CEO quickly forwards the email to the CFO, adding a note. "Please process ASAP. We can't afford delays." The CFO, feeling the weight of the CEO's authority and the urgency of the request, skips the usual multi-step verification process. Trusting the source, he wires the money immediately, believing it's critical for the project's progress. On the other end, cyber criminals are watching. As soon as the funds hit the account, they're rapidly moved through a web of transfers, making the money nearly impossible to trace or recover. Weeks pass. The real supplier, confused and concerned, contacts MechCorp to ask about the missing payment. Only then does the company realize they've been duped by a sophisticated scam. The fallout is immediate. The project grinds to a halt, a costly investigation is launched, and the team scrambles to understand how such a lapse could happen. This attack succeeded by exploiting authority, urgency, and a single moment of distraction, turning routine business into a disaster. MechCorp learned, in the harshest way possible, just how convincing and damaging spear phishing can be, even for experienced professionals. One overlooked email, one rushed decision, and the company suffered a devastating financial loss that could have been prevented. The lesson is clear. No matter how urgent or who is asking, always verify payment requests. A simple phone call or double check can save your company from disaster. At Innovate Inc., the CTO received an urgent email from the board chairman. The request upload the company's source code for a surprise audit. The email looked legitimate, with perfect branding and a convincing link. Under pressure, the CTO clicked the link and entered her credentials and MFA code. Attackers captured everything in real time and logged in as the CTO. They exfiltrated intellectual property, customer data, and financial records over weeks. The breach went unnoticed until unusual activity was spotted in code logs. By then, attackers launched a ransomware attack demanding millions. They threatened to leak all stolen data if not paid. Innovate Inc. faced a nightmare pay-up or risk total ruin. Even security-conscious leaders can fall for a well-crafted spear phishing attack. The consequences were catastrophic. Vigilance and verification are essential. No one is immune. Defending against spear phishing requires more than technology. It demands a vigilant, educated workforce. Foster a culture of skepticism. Pause before acting on any unusual request, especially those involving money or sensitive data. Always verify requests using a separate communication channel. Never trust contact info in the suspicious email. Enforce multi-factor authentication for all critical accounts. Use advanced email security tools to detect spoofed messages and malicious links. Provide ongoing realistic training and simulated phishing tests to keep everyone alert. Make reporting suspicious activity easy and blame-free. The faster a potential breach is reported, the less damage it can cause. Combine strong culture, technical controls, and rapid response for the best defense. In the fight against spear phishing, awareness and action are your strongest shields. Thanks for watching and learning with me. Drop a comment below if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos. I value your feedback. Cyber Network.